At the first chamber, they stopped. The room was circular, perfectly measured, and completely empty, except for a single marking etched into the floor. A circle within a circle. The linguist went pale. No translation was offered. They moved on, because the first rule of excavation is denial. As they progressed deeper, the tomb revealed its purpose not through explanation, but through design. Corridors narrowed subtly. Turns became asymmetrical. Paths curved in ways that made mapping unreliable. They marked walls with chalk. The markings vanished, not erased, ignored. The first written warning appeared carved into a slab of bone embedded in the wall. The script was ancient, older than the ruins above, older than recorded borders. The translation, when spoken aloud, was brief. Do not stand where it watches. They debated its meaning. They stood in the chamber anyway. The second warning was not written. It was felt. One of the torches went out without smoke. Another burned blue. Shadows detached from their owners and reattached moments later. Someone suggested turning back. No one moved. They found remains soon after. Not bodies. Arrangements. Bones placed deliberately along the walls. Hands stacked palm to palm. Skulls facing inward. Not a burial. An audience. The unnamed man finally spoke. This place was never meant to be understood. His voice did not echo. They pressed on. Because curiosity, once awakened, does not accept caution. By the time they reached the second chamber, they no longer trusted distance. Sounds came from behind that were not made by movement. Breathing was heard where no mouth existed. And beneath it all, presence. Not hostile, not welcoming, aware. The linguist discovered another inscription. This one was incomplete. Only fragments remained. Sealed not in fear. Agreement. Must not remember. The rest had been destroyed intentionally. That night, they slept inside the tomb. That was the first irreversible mistake. One of them dreamed of standing alone in the chamber with the circle marking. In the dream, he stood at the center, and something beneath the stone inhaled. When he woke, he could not remember his own name. By the time morning should have come, no one could say how long they had slept. There was no darkness inside the tomb to measure time against. No change in air. No shift in temperature. Only the growing sense that rest had been permitted, not granted, allowed. The man who could no longer remember his name sat apart from the others. He stared at his hands as if they belonged to someone else, flexing his fingers slowly, carefully, as though afraid they might stop responding. When asked who he was, he answered correctly. When asked why he was there, his silence stretched too long. The unnamed man refused to sleep. He stood with his back against the wall, eyes never leaving the corridor ahead. "This place counts us," he said quietly. No one asked what he meant. They resumed their descent. The chalk markings they had left earlier were gone. Not smudged, not erased. The walls were unmarked, as if they had never been touched. One of the excavators laughed nervously and said they must have taken a wrong turn. The unnamed man shook his head. "There are no wrong turns here," he said. "Only deeper ones." The third chamber was larger than the others. Oval-shaped, the ceiling curved inward, lowering toward the center like a closed eye. And on the floor, another circle within a circle. This one wider, this one cracked. The linguist whispered a word in a language no longer spoken. It meant threshold. They noticed then that no one had stood in the center of any chamber so far. Not intentionally. It was as if instinct had guided their steps around the marked spaces. One of the excavators stepped forward without thinking. The unnamed man shouted. Too late. The moment his foot crossed the inner circle, the air changed. Not colder, heavier. Sound dulled, as if wrapped in cloth. The man froze. His mouth opened. No sound came out. His shadow stretched unnaturally long across the floor, then collapsed inward. Gone. Not dragged. Not pulled. Simply folded into the stone beneath him. The man remained standing, but his eyes, empty. They pulled him back. He resisted weakly, like a sleepwalker. When he spoke again, his voice was wrong. Not deeper, not distorted, just delayed, as though the words had been approved before release. That was when they found the second set of rules. Not written together, scattered, carved into walls where the eye did not linger. Never stand at the center. Never sleep twice. Never speak your full name. And never answer when called from behind. And one rule repeated more than the others. Do not listen when it remembers you. They argued about turning back. The path behind them no longer matched their memory. Corridors were shorter. Turns were missing. One passage led somewhere new every time it was entered. The tomb was not rearranging itself randomly. It was responding. The man without a name began humming softly, a melody none of them recognized. When asked where he learned it, he frowned. I didn't, he said. It's already here. They discovered another chamber filled with stone tablets stacked against the walls. Every tablet had been shattered deliberately, except one. It was small, cracked. The linguist translated aloud, stopping frequently as his hands began to shake. This is not a prison. This is remembrance contained. It grows when known. He stopped reading, refused to continue. That night no one slept, but one of them blinked and missed something. They began hearing footsteps behind them, measured, patient, always stopping when they turned. They stopped turning. One of the historians claimed the tomb predated religion, predated gods, that it belonged to a time when humanity did not pray. It negotiated. The unnamed man finally explained. Not fully, only enough. There was something that learned us, he said. Not our bodies, our patterns, our fears, our need to explain. They asked what it was. He shook his head. That's the wrong question. The man who had stepped into the circle began finishing their sentences. Not predicting, remembering. He spoke of events that had not happened yet, and of one event that had. The ceiling. They promised it would be forgotten, he said calmly. But forgetting is not the same as ending. The tomb grew warmer. Walls pulsed faintly, like breath beneath skin. Stone shifted softly when unobserved. And then, they heard it. Not a voice, a recognition. Something deep within the structure had noticed that it was being understood. That was when the unnamed man revealed the truth he had hidden. He had not come to study the tomb. He had come to confirm something written in a forbidden record, something erased everywhere else. The tomb had been sealed once before, not by fear, by agreement, and the agreement was failing. The unnamed man did not speak again until they reached the chamber that should not have existed. It was not marked on any of their maps, not because it had been missed, because it had been avoided. The corridor leading to it curved gently downward, the stone beneath their feet worn smooth by something far older than footsteps. At the end stood a door, not sealed, waiting. The door was unmarked, yet unmistakably deliberate. No handle, no hinges, just a vertical seam down the center, so precise it looked drawn rather than cut. The man without a name stepped forward. This is where it listens, he said. No one asked how he knew. When the door opened, it did so silently. Not inward, not outward. The stone simply parted, as though allowing them passage. The chamber beyond was vast, larger than the others combined. Its ceiling disappeared into darkness, yet the walls curved inward slightly, creating the illusion of containment. At the center, nothing. No altar, no sarcophagus, no relic, just bare stone. And yet, every instinct screamed that this was the heart of the tomb. The man who had stepped into the circle earlier began to smile. I remember this, he said softly. They turned toward him. His eyes were no longer empty. They were focused. The unnamed man finally told the truth. Long before this tomb was sealed, there existed a presence that did not seek worship. It sought continuity. It learned patterns of thought. It absorbed fear. It remembered regret. It grew stronger not through belief, but through understanding. The more it was explained, the more it endured. Humanity discovered it by accident and made the worst possible mistake. They tried to define it, The early records called it many things. None were accurate, because it was not a being. It was a memory structure, a convergence of awareness that fed on recognition. To know it was to reinforce it. To fear it was to nourish it. The sealing was not an act of violence. It was restraint. They buried the knowledge, destroyed the language, erased the rituals, and made one final agreement. The presence would be remembered only by the tomb itself, contained, unfed. But agreements decay, the unnamed man said, especially when forgotten. The man who remembered too much began speaking again. It's been alone, he said gently, and loneliness sharpens things. The walls pulsed in response. The betrayal became clear. The unnamed man had not joined the expedition by chance. He was a custodian, a descendant of those who had sealed the tomb. His role was not to protect humanity, but to ensure the agreement remained intact. And it no longer could. The presence had grown restless. It had allowed the tremors, allowed the collapse, allowed discovery, because discovery meant attention, and attention meant sustenance. The chamber shifted, not physically, perceptually. The air thickened with recollection. They began seeing memories that were not theirs. Cities falling, names erased, decisions made under unbearable weight. They were not visions. They were reminders. The linguist screamed, then stopped, then sat down, smiling. The presence was not hostile. It was patient. It did not need to chase. It waited for comprehension, and comprehension was spreading. The unnamed man drew a blade. Not ceremonial, functional. This was never meant to be opened again, he said. They understood what he intended. One of them tried to run. The corridor behind them was gone. Not blocked, absent. The man who remembered the ceiling stepped forward. You can't end it, he said calmly. But you can replace it. The unnamed man froze. The truth settled heavily in the chamber. The tomb did not contain the presence. It anchored it. And anchors require a point of connection. A mind. A witness. Someone had to remain, not imprisoned, integrated. The unnamed man lowered the blade. He had always known. That was why he never spoke his name. That was why he never slept. That was why he never stood at the center. But the presence had learned from them. It no longer required the willing. It required the suitable. The man who remembered everything smiled wider. It's too late, he said. The chamber inhaled. One by one, they felt their reasons for leaving dissolve. Fear faded. Urgency dulled. The tomb was not trapping them. It was convincing them. The unnamed man made his choice. He stepped into the center of the chamber. The circle formed beneath his feet. Stone softened. The air vibrated with recognition. I remember, he said, and the presence responded. When the unnamed man stepped fully into the circle, the tomb responded the way a body responds to breath returning after near suffocation. Slowly, gratefully, the stone beneath his feet did not break. Yielded, not downward, inward, as though accepting something long overdue. The presence did not speak. It did not need language. The chamber filled with recognition. Every memory the unnamed man had carried. Every story passed down in whispers. Every warning written and erased. Every choice made to preserve forgetting was received, not consumed, stored. The tomb remembered him. The others felt it immediately. The pressure in their minds eased. The whispering thoughts quieted. The sensation of being watched receded. Not gone, contained. The man who remembered the ceiling collapsed to his knees. For the first time since entering the tomb, his smile faded. I don't remember anymore, he whispered. The tomb did not respond to him. It no longer needed to. The unnamed man did not scream, did not beg. He stood perfectly still as the circle brightened faintly beneath his feet, lines spreading outward like veins through stone. I was never meant to leave, he said calmly. This was always the ending. The linguist wept, not in fear, in understanding. Entire civilizations had agreed to vanish from memory to ensure this place would never be explained. Because explanation fed it. and silence starved it. The tomb began to close itself, not violently, with care. Corridors shortened, chambers simplified, excess pathways folded inward. The presence withdrew, contained once more. The unnamed man turned his head slightly. "Go," he said. His voice no longer echoed. It belonged to the tomb now. They did not argue. They did not thank him. They left because leaving suddenly felt possible again. The path out existed, straight, unquestioned. No circles marked the floor. No warnings carved the walls. Only smooth stone already forgetting their footsteps. Behind them, the final chamber sealed. Stone meeting stone without sound, without resistance, without ceremony. When they emerged into daylight, the sky felt unfamiliar. Too open, too loud. They stood in silence for a long time. None of them spoke of what had happened, because none of them could agree on the details anymore. The man who had once remembered everything remembered nothing. Not the tomb, not the ceiling, not even fear. Only a vague sense of loss he could never explain. The official records were altered. The collapse was attributed to natural causes. The site was declared unstable. The ruins were filled in. Maps were redrawn. Names removed. Generations passed. The ground above the tomb settled. Civilizations layered themselves over it. And beneath them, the presence waited. Not growing, not fading. Held in balance by a single, unbroken memory. The tomb was sealed again. The same way as before. Without ceremony. Without prayers. Without markings. Because those who sealed it understood something modern minds still struggle to accept. Some knowledge is not meant to be preserved. Some truths survive only by being buried. And yet, the agreement is not eternal. Memory decays. Languages return. Curiosity repeats itself. The earth still shifts sometimes. Subtle. Measured. As if testing the weight above it. As if asking whether the world still remembers why the tomb was sealed in the first place. Somewhere beneath the stone, the unnamed man remains. Not alive. Not dead. Remembering so the rest of the world does not have to. Because the tomb was never sealed to keep something out. It was sealed to keep something contained. And someday, when the memory weakens, when silence fails, it will open again.